going on, guys? How you all doing? My name is JJ. Man, this is Jason Joseph. This is our fourth episode of Sharing the Mic with JJ, okay, where we get people that are YouTube content creators, broadcasters, on-air personalities, and people that are in front of the mic. We talk a little bit about some experiences and just share what's going on. So today I have a great guest, okay? So I have worked with this guy on so many different occasions. He's an incredible person. He's been doing a whole lot of stuff with Morris County. He's been doing a whole lot of stuff with Penn, and he even does stuff with the Jets right now. And he's a grinder, man. Like he's absolutely a grinder. His name is Lloyd Wilson. Lloyd, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Jason? What's the word, JJ?
Dude, I I talked to you about this like right before we started the recording, but like the hair looks really good, man. Like I I really do love it. Like I love the fro, but like I honestly just like understood like how much time and effort that you put into like just like with the products and all that sort of stuff. How's it feel with the hair shorter?
It feels it's a lot freer. Just feel a lot more freedom. Like we were talking about, like you said before we came on to the show, when it's summertime, when you have a fro, it feels like condensed heat, like an extra hat on top of your head. In the
Yep.
wintertime, is no problem because it's pretty cold out there, especially in the bipolar weather of New Jersey. But uh, It
It's so
is for the
true.
most part. For the most part, though, it feels good just to have some freedom on top of my head, and it's a lot of maintenance. Anybody that knows, it's a lot of maintenance to just keep that style up to par.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Look, before we get into it, okay, I know that today is a big day for you because you got your Giants playing today, like their very
Oh,
first preseason game.
I was just
So,
reminded. I forgot that they played today. I was so busy and so
really,
yeah, I was so locked into all my
I'm sure
games
you
I got
were.
coming up. I'm like, wait a minute, the Giants play tonight. They sure do. I got
Yes, they
a
do.
notification saying yeah they play at 7. So yeah, against the Lions.
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, like, you guys are going up against the Lions. How do you think that you guys have been like doing like ever since like the off season? Like, can you get behind like all the moves that you guys have made like from the draft and from the off season? Like, just like your overall thoughts.
I think the Giants, they are in a position where they could be. I know this is going to sound crazy. They can be the team that the Lions were last year, almost like that Cinderella team, or the team that just fights and grinds to the very end and found its way into the playoffs. Even being the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers led offense that
Yep.
sent them into the playoffs. But I think, or kicked the Packers out rather. But I think the Giants are they definitely upgraded talent wise just a little bit because they have to catch up with Philadelphia and obviously Dallas as well.
Dallas,
Um,
it's freaking Cowboys.
they those Cowboys, cowgirls as some would say, but I think that they were able to tighten the gap just a little bit. The acquisition of Darren Waller. When you're looking into the free agent acquisitions and also the
Yep.
draft, the Banks from the corner position, also even some more corners that came out in this draft. Someone that's been sneaky good has been Trey Hawkins, the third out of Old Dominion. Uh, it's tough. I want to say they've made strides to get better. I just feel like they're still ways away because you still got to
Of course.
obviously develop the offensive line. You just drafted a center this year, rookie center. You got the you got the two tackles, the left and right. Andrew Thomas just got a huge contract. He'll be a New York Giant for the next 5 years. Evan Neal, you hoping he can be better this upcoming year with a lot more healthy. He was dealing with a knee injury pretty much all last year.
Yep.
Um, Schmitz, again, you looking for him to take a stride at that center position. Zudu or even Bredesen at that left guard position, that right guard position is pretty much sealed. But I just think that the offense will look a lot more crisp. They'll have more weapons that they can that they can attack different sides of the field with, even in the slot. Jalen Hyatt, who they drafted out of Tennessee, getting some veteran guys in there, Cole Beasley, Crowder, Wandale coming back, Sterling Shepard coming back. So they have pieces. my biggest concern is still the defensive end. You know, they just
Yeah, man.
signed Dexter Lawrence to a big extension. Got him. Still got more contracts that you got to give up. Next year is going to be Leonard Williams. It's going to be Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney. He's coming up for a contract. So and then obviously the acquisition of Bobby Okereke, who the linebacker position, they got better. Have they tighten the gap enough where they can compete for that number one? I don't believe so. I think you're still about 3 years away, personally, under the same offense, same coaches, same system. That takes a while. And only being in
Does.
year two, I think that I think they can make a run into the playoffs. I just don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be deep. If anything, the way that the East has got stronger in certain cases.
Yeah,
Obviously, we're talking
you're
about
right.
just in the division. You got the Georgia Bulldogs coming Eagles, so they're the Georgia Eagles. So I have no idea what the Giants are going to be able to do. You still have to beat Philly. You still have to beat even Washington and obviously Dallas. But you're trying to catch Philly, and if you're
Oh
talking
yeah.
about Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, you got to have guys that can cover those two and also stop the run. That's the number one thing. And their defense is still lights out. Dallas defense is still lights out. So,
Yep.
man, I'm looking at a wild card team. If I'm going to be 100% honest with you, I think the Giants taking the emotion out of it. I'm going to give you the emotion, but taking the emotion out of it, I think that they can. I think they'll finish pretty much the same spot. I think they'll be third in the division. I think they can possibly squeeze into a wild card if, depending on some of the other teams within the NFC. We got to look at the Lions. We got to look at how Green Bay shakes out. Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota will have the kind of year that they did last year. Um, just looking at all the other teams in the NFC that can potentially give you problems, you got to see how that shakes up. I think the Giants could be more on the upper echelon, maybe mid tier of the NFC. But I think they'll be third in the division, but they'll somehow find a way to squeeze into the wild card. But I think it'll go the same way it did last year. I think they'll make the wild card. I think they'll win a game. I think they'll get to the divisional against a San Francisco, a Dallas, even a Philly, and the season's done. But at least you've seen consistent improvement over the past two seasons. This is all
Right.
obviously barring no injuries, and even with some injuries, you know, guys stepping up. Now the emotional take, JJ. We're going all the way. We're going all the way. We got Darren Waller. We got the shutdown man and Deontay Banks. Everything is lit. We got our guy in the middle, Dexter Lawrence, newly revamped offensive line. Going all the way, man. NFC Championship. It will be the Giants versus Eagles or Giants and Niners. You never know what can happen. That's the
That's so
emotion.
true.
That's the
Yeah,
emotion.
dude, I miss your emotion, man. Like I really, really do.
We got
But
heated. Those discussions got heated. I had to defend
no, no,
My New
dude.
York
Of
team.
course, no, dude. I totally understand. And if there's anything I know, there's anything I know about Lloyd Wilson, it's the passion, it's the energy, it's the enthusiasm, and it's also like the real talk too. It's
Yeah.
also got
Oh,
the real talk too.
this
Yes.
a lot of times they'll see the emotion of, oh, he's just saying whatever is out of his butt.
No,
Jason,
no. There's always facts behind that.
how many times have we been in that station and I had to say, listen, I'm the voice of reason.
Oh yeah.
I had to alleviate that to Aiden,
Oh yeah.
but there was times that I'm like, wait a minute, he's saying something, but they don't like it coming from me because I say it with some passion. They want me to be the calm, collected guy. Like, no, this is how this is,
I
and
will.
spit some facts here and there. No, they don't like the fact that I'm right and I have the emotion and the passion behind it. They don't like it.
They don't understand. They
You
don't
know,
get it. They
it's
don't
all
get
right.
it.
It's all right. Someday they will. Someday they will. When it's a New York Knicks banner hanging up, they're like, yeah, he told us something years ago. He was on to something. He was on to something.
Oh man. I miss those so much, dude. Man, like I want to dive into it. Okay, so
Mm,
so the first question that I always ask people on here, okay, is
yeah,
like, so because it's called sharing the mic with JJ. All right, I've always thought it was interesting just to get people's experiences, and just have them talk about like really cool moments that you got to share the mic with somebody else during that occasion. So like I know that for you, like you got a lot, like like you got calling like the G League finals and like all that sort of stuff, and even like your show that you did at Rowan with Nick, like the early bird special. But like,
Ooh.
what was like what would you say was like a really cool moment like that like stood out to you that you got to share with somebody on the air?
That's a good question. I would say,
I try. I
I
try.
know, at this early stage, man, I want you to ask this same question that next like in 5 years, and so
Oh, I will.
I hope, yeah. Um, right now, I can probably say at the top the G League finals. It was the Delaware Bluecoats and the uh, Grande Rio Valley
The Rio
Raptors.
Grande Val. Yeah,
Rio
yeah, yeah,
Grande.
yeah.
All right, yeah, there
Rio
they had the
Grande.
names.
Yep.
So obviously they needed that game. The Bluecoats. It's only a series
Rio
best of
Grande.
three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. That was the Houston
Vipers.
Rockets. I think it
Houston
was the
Rockets G League
Rockets.
team. Yep.
Yeah, Houston Rockets G
Um,
League.
they lost that one in Delaware. Again, best of three.
Yep.
Once you get two games, that's it. So they got both games at Delaware. Um, and I would say that was pretty much the best one I've had. Like, me and Kara, only because more like the energy behind it, the
So
personal
raw.
backstory behind it, and I would say for obviously those that know. So the year before that, I was on that same game, but I was the color commentator.
Yep.
And as you know, like going into that next year, that final year as a senior year, I wanted to I wanted to be the play-by-play guy.
Oh
So
yeah.
Mr. Hartman knew about that. He knows that I wanted to be in that game no matter what. Unfortunately, I missed the the banquet for it, but those are those are
Remember.
sacrifices. Those are sacrifice, and that already showed me in this business that you got to be willing to put the pleasure to the side sometimes for business and something that you really want. So that's a game I really wanted to call. Um, Being from the color guy to then being the main guy in my final year, it was a huge honor. Uh, NBA G League Finals can't get much better than that. It's essentially, in our case, it was the NBA Finals because we're in
That was so
college.
great.
You
Oh
gotta
yeah.
you gotta get your experience somehow, some way. So that was my first time uh, being able to call that game on that kind of stage, and it was great. Unfortunately, like I said, they lost, but they came back the following year, which was this past year, and they were able to win with Matt McClung and the boys.
Yep.
But um, it was still just a great atmosphere. It was me and Kara on the call, and it was great to be a part of. I just wished I hope they won. I would have felt I had a ring. I'm like,
I
at least when
know.
they got a ring, I got a ring. But
I know.
some things happen.
I know.
Hopefully, I'll get a ring one day when the New York Knicks hang that banner up in Madison Square Garden. Then I can say, yeah, we all won it. This one's for the city.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Jalen Brunson will be there.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
man, I don't know, man. They not winning nothing no time soon.
Yeah.
I not gonna admit that they not winning
Yeah.
nothing no time soon.
So
Mm.
so man, like, all right. So like, we're gonna get to college, okay? Like, we're gonna talk about Rowan. Like, we're gonna get there, but I want to go a bit like way, 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 way back. All right,
Mm.
like first time. All right, you really thought that this was like gonna be like an everyday sort of a thing. Like a lifestyle type of a thing.
Yeah.
When was that moment?
Man, that goes back to if we go way, way back, it's something silly as the hot dog challenge when I was in middle school. We
You had a
all
hot dog
had
challenge?
I know it was very trust
What?
me, it was I know it was very weird. But
I can't wait for
and
this.
in middle school we had a hot dog challenge where we were all we were kids, we were playing with our teachers in school.
Hmm?
And we had a hot dog contest where we had to essentially eat a pack of hot dogs, and who was able to eat it first. However, it was a contest, and on the weirdest occasion, we were all named like, okay, who's going to be the host of this show? Because my music teacher, Mr. Chaz Bruce, who's actually really popular on TikTok, I found out.
Oh, wow.
He asked us to who wanted to be the host of this show. And somehow, some way, I was the guy with the mic, and I'm like, "Well, welcome in everyone to the hot dog challenge here at University Preparatory." It was called U Prep at the time, and I'm seeing what 11, 12-year-old me. I don't even actually I had the wrong age if I'm saying it. But either way, I'm seeing a young version of me. No beard, no hair. I got the baldy count, Jason. I don't
Oh,
got none of
yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, hey, da da da. I'm like,
It would have been a little bit weird if you
whoa.
had a beard in middle school.
You'd be like, whoa, his hormones kicked in quick. But man, it was so weird because I'm like, wow, young me having the mic in his hand already hosting this like little, just playful show. That was
Yep.
number one. Number two, obviously, it got a little bit more serious when I went to high school. Me and my teacher, Patrick McGlynn, we created this show called Lounge with Lloyd, where I would bring in uh, guest students, faculty, student athletes, and I like that aspect of it, being able to sit down and talk to people. If we had events at school, which we call basically a Mr. West Essex, essentially a talent show, I was talking to
Yep.
the talent saying, what can we expect from you coming up next week? Um, and then we go to college. Jason, I lied to you not. I was just at County College of Morris. I had an idea of what I wanted to do because, again, I did it in high school,
Right.
but I didn't know specifically what I wanted. So at the time, I was just playing basketball and obviously taking communications classes.
Yep.
Communication is pretty broad, so you could do anything with it. And I continued the show Lounge with Lloyd at school. They were able to um, grant me access to their, pretty much their technology and their rooms where I could have a sit down show and host. But I was just playing. I wanted to play basketball, so I tried out for the team. I wasn't as good back then as I am now. Got to shout myself out. But essentially, my coach, I drove him home one day after practice, and he asked me like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm just in the moment. I'm just playing basketball. I'm just going to classes. And he was like, well, if you want to do broadcasting, why don't you get more into that? Why don't you focus more on that? And ever since we had that conversation, the car ride, I took off. All the thing I did was no lie, man. I just grabbed a camera, grabbed a little mic,
Yep.
and instead of playing basketball, I'm the guy calling the games up at the top of the bleachers. Jason, I tell everybody, the only thing I started with, man, was a notepad or a notebook and
Yep.
a piece of paper and a pen. Wrote the guys' names down, their numbers, some stats that I could find online. The stuff that we essentially do at Rowan.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what I was
Yeah.
doing. So
Right.
I'm glad that
Exactly.
I was pretty much on the right track, but not knowing I was on the right track. So I was just writing their names down, writing some stats, writing some interesting facts that I knew about the team already, while also getting some stuff from the other team. And I'm my one man band, Jason. I'm talking in the mic while I'm also alternating the camera left and right. I'm like,
Yep.
man. So
It's a
when I
lot.
when I can't, yeah, when I just was doing it, when I was just calling the games, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually pretty good at this. Like just out of nowhere, it's like
Oh,
Joshua
yeah.
Morris down the low block, fades away, shoots and scores. Like I'm just doing something like that. I'm like, wait a minute, like this is kind of fun.
It
So
is
I'm like,
fun.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Then I found out I'm like, I can have a career in this. This is amazing. I'm like, okay, well, we definitely want to do this. So I started to do that. Pretty much did that all juniors. I mean, sophomore year or freshman and sophomore year, and man, it was a blast. I was even in my sophomore year, my last year there. They were able to go um to the playoffs, which was in Buffalo, New York. So they had to go all the way down to pretty much where I grew up, Rochester, New
Yep.
York, an hour away from Buffalo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it felt like a homecoming in a sense because I was calling the games, and obviously this is on a big time level yet, but I'm
Oh,
still
yeah.
calling games, and I was able to talk to the athletic director of the County College of Morris, and he gave me the opportunity. We were able to bring all the equipment, and I was able to call the very first live game for the school,
Oh my
for the
gosh, really?
basketball team. Yeah, for they never had anybody like me doing something like that. AD told me. So they never had anybody do anything like that. So
That's
I
so
brought all the
cool.
equipment down and we were able to show the game live. I told the players that they could share it with their friends and family. I'll tell you, Jason, that game, I did awful. But I'll be honest with you, because it was my first time doing a game live where I'm
I get
having
it.
people, their families listening to me. I'm like, wait a
Oh
minute.
yeah.
All this stuff was recorded and I was able to go back and listen to myself. I'm the only one that's hearing me. Now we got a live stream and everyone's hearing me going, oh, like they're hearing their son's name. And I'm like, oh
Yep.
man, this is big pressure. So it was my first time ever doing live. I could feel my stomach queasing. I could feel the sweats going through. I'm like, man, this is the first time I'm doing it.
Gosh.
And it just prepared me for what was going to come up to be Rowan Radio, Rowan Athletics. And I'm like, man, this is how
Yep.
it's going to be like. So I'm just seeing that number in the top right of my screen go from 20 people listening to 45 people listening to 200
Yep.
listening to then
That's
300
crazy.
listening. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm seeing the number
Yeah.
as I'm calling the game. I'm like, gotta stay locked in. So,
Yep.
man,
Yep.
it was very nerve wracking, but it was a life lesson I won't forget. And obviously it propelled me to do stuff at Rowan, which I was pretty much a little bit more comfortable with. You know, I was obviously nervous because I'm still trying to get acclimated and everything. But as time went
Of
on, I'm like,
course.
wait a minute, this is how it's gonna be. So I might as well get good practice at it. So I started from nothing with it, man, at
Yep.
all. So that's how it started.
Dude, that is quite an interesting story. I love that. I love that so much, man. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about Rowan because you kept bringing it up and you did a really good job at just like covering like all aspects from like where you started in middle school and like how that transitioned to high school. You know, like when you were playing basketball and then the whole like car ride with coach and everything. Like that was a really good just timeline of events, and
Yeah.
that all leads up to Rowan. So I guess then my first question that I have to ask you, first of all, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, okay, this is Sharing the Mic with JJ. This is our fourth episode with our man Lloyd Wilson, who graduated from Rowan University same year as I did. We go way back, and he's
Props
been
for
doing a
life.
whole lot of stuff. Oh yeah, dude, of course, for sure, absolutely. So I remember when I got the call, okay, about the blue coats. Okay, I remember the whole conversation that was being made at the Pizza with the Pros. I had
Mm,
no idea, first of all, that it was even going to be a thing, and so I remember like Tom McGinnis was there. I remember that D. Lynam was there, and I was thinking like, whoa, like this is a big announcement. And so
mm,
as soon as they announced that there was going to be like a whole thing for this, I was like, I gotta try out. And as soon as I got that call, like after the audition and everything, I was actually at my aunt's house, and
mm.
I was I almost cried. You know, I really did. I was holding the emotions
Emotional.
in, but you, me, Kayla, Aaron, who actually got to see them win, by the way, like
Yeah,
that
they
was
did.
that
So
was really wild. But
essentially you got
like,
a ring.
what was what what was it like for you when you got the call?
um, I was overjoyed. I'm not even gonna lie because I know personally. Again, this was the first year I'm on campus, trying to get acclimated. You know, to know everybody, know you, know Professor Jones, know the whole
Yep.
radio station,
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Hartman himself. So to come in and to be able to perform and get the call to say I got it, I was like, wait a minute. Again. This is, as I just told you the story, pretty much no background,
Yep.
no experience whatsoever, just
Hey.
being thrown into the fire and
Yep.
hoping for the best. The reason I was so overjoyed is because I knew I practiced, I knew I worked hard for it, I knew I was just watching over tape, calling the games, practicing. There was times I would practice late at night to early in the morning just to get the hang of it, just to make sure that my calls were right and to go over how I can implement stats into it. It's a whole bunch of obviously homework you have to do, but also just understanding the rules, situations, what's going to happen.
Yep.
Because
Oh yeah.
when we went into the audition, we didn't know what we were going to be shown. We didn't know if we were going to be shown the first quarter. We don't know if we were
Nope.
going to be shown the fourth quarter. So you got to
Yep.
know the rules, what the rules do at certain points of the game, how it interchanges.
Yep.
So
The one free
I
throw rule that was
the one
actually
free
like
throw.
brand new at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
man.
were experimenting that in the G League
Yep.
before trying to see if they want to do it with the NBA. So all
Oh
that
yeah.
was you had to know that. That's how you knew. That's how they knew if you knew
Yep.
and they did your if you did your homework. So
I remember that.
I was overjoyed to answer your question. I was just so happy because I knew I worked hard for it. Knowing my story personally and how much I had to work for it compared to like maybe others that been doing
Yep.
this for a while. Like again, I'm coming from 2 years of doing it with a piece of paper and learning
Yep.
as I go,
Oh yeah.
compared to students at Rowan who've been doing this at a different level, if not a higher level,
Yep.
for 2 years already before I even came in. Now 3 years.
Right.
So it's like, whoa, that's the competition. I gotta beat out those guys. So
Yep.
that's why I was like, man, this is a huge opportunity. So when I got that call, I'm like, yeah, that hard work wasn't for nothing. Because I
No,
had
no,
again,
man.
like a lot of people,
Yeah.
you can have your foot in the door already, or you can have a step up on people, and you have to work. You have to really work and make sure that you're on top of your game so you can beat out any kind of competition. And when I got that call, I feel like I showed my best foot and I put my best foot forward.
I have to tell you, man, like just to kind of piggyback of like like what you said, just about like the emotion. That was also like the same year that my brother passed.
Yeah,
And I really thought, to myself, like as soon as I got that call, I was like, man, like I know I put in like a lot of work and like I put my heart and soul into it, but like it really showed me that if I get this experience now and if I continue to just take advantage of every opportunity that I had at Rowan, that was really going to help me to the point like where I'm doing like what I'm doing now, like with my channel. Like I if I don't do blue coats, if I don't do blue rocks, if I don't do all these other things as well as Rowan Radio, like I don't get into films, like I don't get into I don't do this channel. So like just to
yeah.
piggyback like everything that off of everything that you said, it was really absolutely emotional. And I do have to tell you this, so people don't know this, but when we called the Blue Coats, like I like to call us, you, me, Aaron, and Kayla, the OGs. You know what I mean? Like I like to call us
I think that
the
was the first year that they were doing
it
it.
it it, it was, and
Yeah,
we called all the games in the conference room because they were playing in the bubble, and I
yeah.
remember that as clear as day, and so I learned from you, and and this is nothing but facts, like right here, okay? Because I was doing games before, but like they were, like either like at the basketball arena, like at a Richard Wacker Stadium, like all those types of things. You know what? But
Mr.
but
Wacker.
but anyhow, like I learned from you that it's just so important to get constructive criticism. And I saw from you, like when we were doing games in the conference room, that you would literally go into Derek's office during halftime because Derek would be there.
Yeah.
And you would just be like, Mr. Jones, like, what could I do better? And I realized, I should be doing the same thing. And then it actually got to the point, like where you and I were both going into the room, and and he eventually knew like like what we were coming in for, so he would actually pass us notes to like you and I.
Yeah, I still have
And
the notes. That is crazy. Yes, I remember. I still have the notes. You're right. You're right.
but
He already knew what the time was when he came in. He's like, "This is for
exactly,
you. This is for you."
this is free.
Hmm.
but
I
but
remember that.
but no, like I seriously learned from you that like you got to get constructive criticism in order to
Yeah,
get better at everything that you do. And I've learned, like, just from the amount of times that I even do this now, like on my channel, it's all about the reps. Like, you have to, of course, like get like as much criticism as you can, but like part of the constructive criticism is just to keep doing it like over and over and over and over again. And if it weren't for you, like I would have never learned that. And I also, of course, like, with the energy that you have and all the stuff that you did with the Blue Rocks, you, me, and Nick Earnshaw, man, like that was a lot of fun too. But I
We
learned
were
just like the
grinders
passion.
that summer.
Oh my gosh,
We were
absolutely.
grinders that summer.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah, we
They
did.
they that they changed the rule because
Yep.
of us. They was like, we can't just
They
have 3 of them. We
they,
gotta have at least 5. I'm like, okay.
oh my gosh. Yeah,
They
but
knew.
in all honesty, like I know that I'm shifting off topic here, but like there was no pitch clock. So like we'd be doing this for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And like
They don't know. Those are dog days.
plus rain delays on top of
Yeah,
that, man. And like there were
dog
no bigger
days.
bases, like
Mm-mm.
none of that stuff.
Yo,
So like
those were
we
the
we and I've realized that even like over the years, like we were always there. Like we were always reliable. Of course, like people would sometimes like call out now, but like we would always step up. Like you, me, and Nick, we always stepped up. Like when our numbers were called, we were always there. And we always tried to have a blast with it. And that's the one thing that I've learned just from you as well, is just to really just take this, like, even though it's a job, like to really just have fun with it. And so I really thank you for that, for teaching me all those things, because you don't realize it, but you seriously have taught me a lot.
I appreciate that, man. I always
Of
try to
course.
have fun with it. That's definitely, like you said, that's the number one thing. Just to, like you said, it's a job. Um, you get paid for it, but at the end of the day, the love and the joy that you get out of doing it, that's pretty much the most important thing, because that's gonna make you, I guess, stay young within the business. It's gonna make you want to
Oh yeah.
always do better, get better, just to entertain whoever's listening to you, watching you. That's the biggest thing. We're entertainers. We got to make sure whoever's listening and whoever's watching, to make sure that they having fun just as much as we are.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Um, so ever since Rowan, man, like how's post grad been? Like just overall.
It's been good. It's been busy. I've always been trying to be busy, like you said, and I'm in more Sussex sports, so that's pretty much high
Yep.
school. We'll be doing a lot of games for them. I'm be my boss, Mr. Moore, always jokes to me. He was like, "It's gonna be you and me on Fridays. That's our date night." So every Friday, they they already sent me the schedule. They already sent me the schedule. I'm gonna be doing football games every Friday night this
Wow,
season.
man.
And when more sports come in, post obviously football season and playoffs, I'll be right there with it. Um, so it'll
Yep.
be more sports coming up. Um, Over the summer, I look at, I don't know, maybe this is like the athlete in me, but my summer is like my off season. So how do, like a player, like throughout the season, you grind, you try to do as many as you can, do as
Yep.
much as you can. And the summer is more like not the downtime. You get your workouts here and there, but it's not
For
as
sure.
strenuous as throughout the
Editing
year.
reels and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
So
I get
in the
that.
summer, this past summer, I was like, what can I do to get myself better? So what I've been doing, um, any sport that I did not call and any sport that I did not know of, that's what I taught myself this summer. So I learned
Good idea.
everything is self-taught. So I taught myself lacrosse, taught myself field hockey, I taught myself volleyball, um, and that's what I wanted to know how to call, or how to like, what rules do I need to know?
Right.
Essentially, how to call. I wanted to know how to call those games going into this
Exactly.
season, and I'll do the same thing next following summer. What sports can I learn, or even what sports did I do throughout this year that I can listen back and refresh up on the summer? So that's what I did this year. I wanted to see what can I do to get better, to have myself in a better position to call more games, be more opportunistic, when I do get to a Penn, when I do get to a Princeton, or even more Sussex Sports, or whoever school has called me. I've had
Yep.
other schools reach out to me, say, "Hey, can you do a game for us?" Da, da, da. So I want to be, multi-dimensional, and say like, "Hey, I know how to do volleyball. I can come in and do a volleyball game for you. I know how to do lacrosse. You need a guy, I'm a lacrosse guy."
Yep.
So, and
Exactly.
obviously, you got to get opportunities to create those tapes, but then also creating tapes on my own. There's been times I literally just sat here and I called a whole game in my living room just to have tape so I can send it out to another school
That's what I
and
did too.
another person, just to, hey, I've done this, done the research, I got the paperwork to show for it. So that's the stuff that I did. Coming up, like I said, date night every Friday night, football. Princeton and Penn are gonna kick up. I'll be doing producing for Princeton more likely.
Is Cody still
Uh,
there?
Cody is still there. Yeah,
Oh, you gotta tell him I said hi. Gotta tell him I said hi.
I will. That man's a grinder. That man's a
Yes.
grinder as well. So,
Yeah. You gotta also
the
tell Mike I said hi too, because now he's directing over there. From the Blue Rocks.
You're right. You're right. I've
Yeah.
seen him numerous times last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
He be moving too. A lot of those guys be moving. Hey, you got to feed the beast. Got to pay the bills.
Oh
I
my
understand.
gosh. I miss him
Um.
and I miss
Yeah,
Kevin.
Blue Rocks
Mm,
was a ride. It was a
it
ride.
was.
Um.
Up, did I lose you? Oh no. Oh, I lost you.
Oh man.
Ugh. There you are.
No,
There you are.
I had lost you. Hold on. I need to put this on. Do not disturb. I guess I'm a busy man. Um.
You are always a busy man. You're Lloyd Wilson. Oh boy. Ugh, I hope I don't lose him. Ugh. Nah, man. Lloyd and I definitely go like way, way back. Like he's really taught me so much, and I just like I just think that like him and the other people that I got to work with at Rowan, I'm not doing this if it weren't for them, you know? And like we all encouraged each other to just get better like every single day. And we would even like get to the point like where we would, like sometimes like go out like after some of the sporting events and all that sort of stuff. And we really just tried to just develop chemistry and like get to know one another. And that was the one thing that I always respected. Lloyd's back. What's going on, Lloyd?
My bad. This
No, you're good. You're good, bro. You're good,
whole
bro.
lot of whole lot of stuff going on.
I'm sure.
Busy man, back and forth. Uh, yes. So Princeton, Penn, want to do more games for Princeton in the upcoming year.
Yep.
And then obviously I got my schedule for Penn, so I'll be doing some sideline. I'll be doing color, and hopefully be
That's
doing
good.
some games as well as the season go on. Just trying to get acclimated. So I gotta make sure I get my tape out there, the best tape that I can.
For sure.
I also will be buying myself a new computer this year because this one is ran its course. It has ran its course. So
Yeah.
just also just getting a computer that I can update and do highlights on and send that out as well. So um big year coming up.
Yeah.
Big year. It's essentially it's funny how you said with the New York Giants. Essentially, this is my year too. So
It
year
is.
one is with everything in regards to uh getting acclimated. Year two is pretty much building on that. So
Yep.
I have to build on that. And just like Joe Shane, Dayball, and Jones, in year two of their offense, I'm gonna be in year two of the whole broadcasting thing. So
Yep.
um you gotta see how that all plays out. But
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, like absolutely, dude.
uh,
I I really appreciate you for coming on here, man. Like, you're
of
always
course.
welcome to come on here, like anytime. And man, like, I don't just consider you like somebody that I just used to work with. Like, like you're my brother, man, and your family. So, like family, man. Like, like we always find ways to like get back together. Like, I still keep in touch with Nick. I still keep in touch with pretty much like everybody I was close with at Rowan. I still talk to Nick Carlson sometimes. I still talk to Aaron Hook, but like we all just come back together. And, I think that was like the really cool thing about just being at Rowan and just getting that whole experience is because it's just the connections, but better yet, like the bonds and the family types of things. Because like we've been through battles, like like a lot of stuff.
I
So
went through it all.
you
Definitely
know?
went through it. Like you were talking about before, like the dog days.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely, man. I
Yeah.
love you, brother. All right. Thanks so
I me
much for
too.
coming on
Appreciate it.
here.
Of
Yep.
course, appreciate you.
Of course. All right, guys, that's going to wrap things up for our fourth episode of Sharing the Mic with JJ. Stay tuned and tune in next week for another episode. See you soon.